I have something to admit. I finally caved. I signed up on TikTok, and wow, I now know why people don't like realtors. I'll give you an example of what I saw, how wrong it was, and how much traction it gets on a platform like that. Check this out. Hi, my name is Vas, and I'm a chartered professional accountant by training. I am a full-time realtor that's built and invested in real estate right here in York Region, Toronto, and in secondary markets. In this video, I'm going to put my accounting hat back on, which I don't like doing, but we're going to do it because I think this is important. This TikTok got sent to me by a friend of mine. She asked me whether or not the numbers make sense. I took a look at it once, and at a first glance, it actually seemed to make sense, and there was a lot going on there. I mean, there was a whiteboard, there was somebody that was presentable, speaking with a lot of conviction, and I didn't question it too much, but then something didn't sit right with me. I ran the numbers and the whole thing fell apart. It was a good lesson. Now, I tried to reach out to the person that made the video asking, hey, can you shine some light on this because your numbers are not making sense? She didn't respond, so I guess I'm just going to have to do it on her behalf. And then you, the audience, can decide whether or not this is right or wrong, or if I missed something, because to me, it doesn't make any sense. And now, without further ado, let me introduce you to TikTok Real Estate.
I always find it so funny when the buyers are saying that they're waiting for the market to crash. So we prepared this illustration just to give you an idea of what that actually means for a buyer if the market crashes. Now, we all know that the interest rates have gone up astronomically since last year. They've almost doubled. To be generous, let's just say at some time last year, in the height of this market boom, our interest rate was 2.59, which is true. At some point it was. And let's say for a house that was $800,000, a mortgage payment over 25 years would have been about $2,900. Now, fast forward now. Interest rates are about 4.79. This is current. And let's just say that this house over here at 800,000 went down in value by 10% to 720,000. Well, now your mortgage payments are $3,300. It's about a difference of $400 a month. Now you might say, okay, what's that? It's $400 a month. It's $4,800 a year. But look at the difference in interest. It's almost double. Interest is the true cost of your mortgage. So in the first scenario, at the height of the market, you're paying $16,000 in interest. Today, you would be paying $27,000 for that same home. So don't be fooled by prices going down, because your monthly payments is what you should be looking at. And your monthly payments is a function of not just the price, but the interest rate as well.
There's a lot to unpack here. There's a lot that is wrong, but I'm just going to focus on the main thing here. She said that do not be fooled by prices going down because your payment is the only thing that matters, insinuating that don't wait for prices to go down further, buy now, because you're technically not going to save any money by buying a cheaper house. And that is complete dog. So let's get into the numbers. We're going to use the exact same number she used, which I think kind of skewed to favoring her situation, obviously. The reality is actually worse, but even her own numbers don't work. Let's break this down quickly. I'm not going to go through all the math. I'm just going to go high level in terms of what's happening here. There's some mistakes on the whiteboard. I'm not going to point them out. They're not relevant. We're just going to stick to the point here. So there are two properties in her scenario. One is $800,000 at 2.59%, and the other one is $720,000 at 4.79. Let's assume it's the same property. It was worth 800, call it 2 months ago, and now it's 720 at a higher interest rate. The way we're going to do this math is we're going to take a look at between both scenarios, how much money is owed at the end of the 5-year mortgage term, because that basically tells us who's better off. Let's start with the person who paid more, $800,000 let's start with the person who paid more at $800,000 with a lower interest rate of 2.59. They owe on their mortgage $542,000 at the end of 5 years. So this number, it's very important to remember this, because this is what their loan is after 5 years. Imagine they bought the exact same house 2 months later for $720,000 at a higher rate of 4.79. How much would they owe after 5 years? Here it is. Had they bought at 720, they would owe $486,000 on their mortgage after 5 years. So they're significantly better off, even with the higher interest rate, had they waited for the prices to drop, throwing her argument completely out of the window. Now, her argument would make sense if the spread in interest was higher, but guess what? If the spread in interest is higher, the price differential would be higher. That $800,000 house would be $650 if the interest rate was much higher than 4.79. So yes, waiting absolutely makes sense, and yes, you should wait for a price floor to buy rather than jumping in right now when you know that in 2 to 3 months prices are going to continue going down. I reran a third scenario just to make sure I didn't miss something. What I assumed here is the same people that could have bought at 800, let's say they waited to buy at 720, and they put not 20% of 720 down, but they put the 160,000 down, which was 20% of 800,000. If that doesn't make sense, basically I'm saying Let's say these people had $160,000 down payment. Rather than waiting for prices to go down and put a smaller down payment, they put the original $160,000 down, so they have a smaller mortgage. How does that change their position? Well, they still owe $493,000 at the end of 5 years. So regardless of how you split this whole thing up, waiting for a cheaper price is the right thing to do because you're going to be way better off in the long run. The point of this video was not to expose anybody or to have a gotcha moment or anything of that nature. I'm looking to bring transparency to the real estate process, and I'm looking to educate people. Couple that with the fact that this video was seen by 40 to 50,000 people on TikTok. That means there are that many more people who are now either misinformed or at the very least confused. And on top of that, just comments I've heard from my own clients based on conversations they've had with other realtors, it baffles me the amount of stuff that's being said and thrown around, especially verbally, that is completely untrue. So that being said, if you have any questions or if you're confused about anything in real estate, which is totally common, feel free to text or email me. I love chatting real estate, and that gives me the feedback I need to know what kind of content to put out to help the audience. If you like this video and you found value in it, please subscribe and like it, and I'll see you in the next one.